The jointer is the most dangerous tool in a wood shop in my opinion, next to the bandsaw. The collar that retains the spring that keeps the safety guard over the cutting head broke. Thereby, I have no safety feature now, so I have to fix that before I can really use this jointer. So come check it out. So last week I restored this rusty 1986 jointer back to its former glory, and then some. I bet you didn't notice when I was putting the jointer back together, but when I put the safety guard on over the blade, the collar that retains the spring mechanism actually broke and fell on the floor. Here's a nice zoom in of the broken collar piece. It broke into 3 pieces. It's probably the only piece of pot metal on the entire thing. Everything else is high quality metal. In reviewing the footage from last week, I noticed that there were cracks that you could see visually, but I was so focused on fixing the cast iron parts that I didn't even notice the collar was damaged. I show images on my channel of products that I'm using for 2 reasons. 1, so people know what to buy, and 2, to highlight specific research I did on very specific products. I am not sponsored in any way and pay for all of these with my own money. So I measured the broken part, got some dimensions off it to try to see what I could do about fixing it. After a week of contemplation, I realized that I had a piece of bar stock left over from a previous project, so I just used that. So I used my bandsaw to cut a piece of that stock off. I faced it and I turned the outside diameter down to the spring retaining washer size. If you want to know more about this lathe, check out this video. Then I used a series of increasing drill bit sizes to the max size drill bit I have, which is 1 inch. Then I switched to a boring bar to increase the inside diameter to about 25 thousandths larger than the thumb wheel that fits inside this collar. Then I turned a rabbet on the inside to give the lip on the thumb wheel somewhere to be captured. So I have 2 different attachments for parting off parts. I can't get either of them to work. They seem to chatter too much, so either there's an issue with my setup or the lathe, or I just don't know what I'm doing, which is probably the case. So I just used a hacksaw. So I lost the footage, but I used the spring retaining washer to transfer punch holes onto this new ring, and then I drilled those holes out. I want to reuse the screws that came with the original collar, so I drilled the holes slightly larger than what those screws are to give me a little wiggle room. Then I used an oversized drill bit to inset the screws because this collar is much thicker than the original. Let's put this thing together and see how I did. Looks like my holes line up, and you can kind of see how this works, that the thumb wheel sits inside that rabbeted lip. Then the spring sits inside the grooves on the thumb wheel, which allows you to wind up the spring. And then the other end of the spring sits on this little washer plate, and that's what holds the other end of the spring constant so you can keep tension. So if you've never used a joiner, the way these work is you wind up the spring tension, and then the end of the pin on this safety guard has a slot cut in it. So you drop the slot into the spring that you've wound up and thereby applying tension. This way you can set the tension very strong or very weak depending on what you're doing. Thanks for watching! Well, if you made it this far, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I have a wide variety of projects on my channel, and I would really appreciate it if you would leave me a like or subscribe, or maybe watch one of my other videos. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching!